Welcome, dear friends, to Soulful Living. The last two episodes focused on the heart chakra and the solar plexus with essential oils and how to illuminate and balance the energies. So this week, we will be shifting our energy to a time a long time ago, BC, in fact, when the world was evolving in its form and when a specific continent existed called the land of Lemuria. Lemuria is also called the land of Mu. This land stretched from Hawaii to Madagascar. The timing is thought to be 50,000 years ago. Madame Blavatsky, who founded the Theosophical Society, revived the Lemurian name of Mu in history, calling it then the third root race. Atlantis followed after Lemuria as the fourth race. These are known as the root races. Why would I be speaking about this? Well, the reason for this is because the world is going through enormous changes on the planet, and it is believed by many spiritual and forward-thinking people that we will be evolving into receiving more psychic abilities, more use of our senses, more use of our feelings, and intuitive empowerment. These elements existed in the time of the Lemurians, and through time, as man developed themselves into having more functions, we lost this particular ability. During the times of the Lemurian age, the Mu people had this ability naturally. They did not fight each other. They lived for 2,000 years and had a completely different system of living to what we have now. They were known as the giants, estimated at 8 feet tall. James Churchwood wrote several books about Lemuria. Whilst researching their history, his dedicated research took over 50 years. There are several other sightings in books, such as Rudolf Steiner, called The Cosmic Memory, where he states the prime development of the Lemurians was to develop the will of the faculty of the imagination. He describes the Lemurians as being a born magician in all fields of lower human activities. They were able to tune into animals, plants, and to each other without the use of language. There have been others who channeled to those times and could describe many of the facts that James Churchwood found during his research. He also studied their language from the Naal Tablets, as the people knew with their intuition that their land would be lost by a tsunami or an earthquake, which did sink the continent in time. He called the language Naga Maya. There was only one Indian priest who knew this language, and Churchwood befriended him to learn it and to translate the Naal Tablets. Since the Lemurians had the foresight of this inevitable catastrophe, they took their heretic artifacts and the Naal Tablets to India, Tibet, and to Peru, South America, to secluded areas around the mountains where the descendants avoided contact with contemporary civilization for preservation. Amongst these secret documentations were the Naal Tablets, where we see the inscriptions as symbols. The Mu people generally didn't communicate with each other by language. They were already telepathic and used sound to communicate. The period was determined by the 4 cataclysms in the Pacific, which were subjected to volcanic eruptions and earthquakes between 50,000 to 10,000 years BC. This subject took my interest when I attended a crystal workshop and was introduced to the Lemurian crystals. I felt during the meditation that I was one of those people in Lemuria who foresaw the catastrophe in event coming. This led me to do much research about it, and I wrote a detailed script with diagrams about this research and can be accessed online on Hermes Risen. It is interesting to note that most people's fascination relates to the Atlanteans, who existed around this time and are known as the 4th race. The Atlanteans, although they came after the Lemurians, did exist for a period of time at the same time. However, recently, Lemuria has taken the interest by many speakers nowadays on YouTube. There have been other recent discoveries amounting to 2,500 tablets by William Niven in Mexico. Both sets have the same origin. Both are extracts from the sacred inspired writings of Mu. The symbol of Mu was the lotus flower. It was the first flower on earth. The people were described as giants, as they were 8 feet tall. They were known as a peaceful race. It is believed they evolved from another planet. Their continent was formed as a 6-pointed star, where 6 temples of light were built on top of the mountain and were joined by pathways with crystals through the trees. There were communities at each of these 6 points. Each of these communities created the 6-pointed star within them. It was here that sacred geometry was born. The Lemurians and the Atlantean were healers of the light. They had high vibrational frequency from well-developed third eyes. So what did we learn by this? There were maps showing the continent of Mu. There were vignettes which described how the story of the earth evolved and how man was developed. There were temples and cities. There were crystals, and we know that crystals have the ability to memorize the codes. It is said that the Lemurians channeled secret codes of healing into the crystals to be found at a later date for our use. It is believed that this high frequency and well-developed third eye is where we are evolving now. This can be seen by the amount of people who have taken to breathing techniques, meditation practices, to yoga, to Tai Chi, to Qigong. Although it must be said, some have already reached this frequency. I hope that this episode has been enlightening for you, as I feel it makes sense to know where we come from and where we are moving to. Future podcasts will include an interview with Sophie, who is a herbalist, a medical herbalist, and who is very close to nature and does herbal talks. The energy of the plants speak to her naturistic being, and this encourages her to encourage others around her to access that part of them too. Please tune in to the meditations on my YouTube channel at Unified Healing. The World Peace Meditation is a linking one and can be really useful to do after this talk. One with a wonderful experience of world peace energy. I have got a Lemurian meditation written, but I still need to record it, and we'll be doing this soon. Please send me your feedback with your comments and press the like button if you enjoyed this podcast. The audio is on Spotify and also on Apple. I send you love and peace and hope that you have a productive week with blessings and with light. See you soon.